Alright, so in this video I want to talk about how I got into my graduate placement year, basically internship you can call it, and yeah, talk you through my experience and maybe you can learn something from this video. So right off the bat, as you know, or you might have known from my videos, I am currently on a graduate scheme, which I've fought really hard for, and there's loads of things that I learned. I basically teach a lot of those things on my channel. It took me like 3 to 4 years to kind of get on a graduate scheme because I kept failing, kept doing the wrong things. But this is about my internship, my placement year, which I did in the third year of my uni. So yeah, I did my internship year or my placement year at Network Rail. So I did my civil engineering degree, and my placement year was a year long. I wanted to do a year, and a lot of people, like I speak to a lot of students, and they say to me that, well, we just want to get our degree done. But I highly recommend that if you got a bit of time in your hands, definitely recommend you to do a year out placement, because a year on your CV will, put you miles in front of someone who's got like 2 months summer placement or 3 months summer placement. Like, you're going to be miles apart from them, and when they're considering people, they are going to look at your year-long placement. And in some cases, you don't even have to actually call it a placement. You could just call it, and an employment. If you're getting paid, it is an employment. So you could put down that on your CV, maybe later down the line, and you can change that. You don't have to put a summer. You don't have to put like a year out placement student. You can actually put the job title that you were working as. Like, for example, I was working as a junior engineer, and I put that down on my CV. I didn't put I didn't put placement year. I put junior civil engineer. And yeah, in the sort of bullet points I put, this was a year out placement as part of my university degree. Just so that I'm not completely lying. But it really it makes your CV like really relevant when you're applying to graduate jobs. But anyway, so I did my placement year at Network Rail. The way I got it was basically, in my second year, we got told, right, if you want to get on a placement year, you have to start looking for jobs, start looking for placements in particular. And there's two things that I did. First of all, I started sending out cold emails to like the companies that were in my vicinity in the area, right? So West Yorkshire, I was kind of looking at York, Bradford, Leeds, Sheffield, and I just started reaching out to engineering companies, and I was sending like this blanket text, right? I was just sending a blanket text saying, hey, I'm in the second year of my university, really interested in your company. I am doing a civil engineering degree, would like to work as a junior civil engineer. Is there anything that you have for me? Basically, that was the kind of gist that I was aiming for. I sent out a good, I'd say, I can't remember the number now because it was a while back, but I sent out quite a few cold sort of emails, and I don't think I really got many replies. The other thing that I did was obviously get in touch with the careers advisor at the university, and basically they said, well, we've got like connections and links with some of these companies, and they kind of come to us directly, and whenever we hear anything, we will put it on this notice board. So it's like, all right, fair enough. So a week or two later, on that said notice board, Network Rail and a bunch of other companies had actually put like a flyer on there saying that we're looking for placement students. It's going to be a 12-month placement, and you're going to get to kind of shadow the civil engineers. I was like, that's brilliant. So me and a bunch of other people from my classes and my course mates actually applied to that same opening. We applied to the job. We had to send an email off to this person, like this email address, and before you know it, they had turned around and said, right, we're going to send out an email to the people who we would like to interview. I was one of those people, and there was two other people that were selected on the course as well. One of them was actually a really good friend of mine, and yeah, so fast forward a little bit, we got told that there's going to be an interview. There's going to be one day, and they're going to come in, basically going to interview all three of you. Here are the timings. If you want to change the timings around, you can do so, but we can't change the day or anything because they're just coming in on this one day. And that was that. So they came in, took an interview. I think they did like a little bit of a technical sort of question and answers as well. So they had one question in there which was about like sort of like beam loadings and stuff. I don't want to get too technical, but it's basically related to structural engineering, which is what I was doing. Wasn't anything that hard. But yeah, they just wanted to kind of check that you're actually doing civil engineering and you're not just like a psychology graduate or something trying to get into the job. But yeah, so basically that's what happened, and yeah, lo and behold, 4 weeks later, I think 4 weeks or 5 weeks later, didn't hear a reply. I actually emailed them saying, hey, we haven't heard a reply from you. I just thought if you could let me know if I've got the job or not. If not, that's absolutely fine, but I just want to be able to get an answer if that's possible. And they turned around and said, actually, you've actually not got the job. And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like, yeah, unfortunately, you haven't got the job. And basically what they'd said to me was that, without going in too much detail so that you can understand, in engineering, there's like a design element to it and there's a technical element to it, right? There's like, those are the two main aspects when it comes to engineering. And I was getting quite high marks in the design aspect of things. And, I was clearly showing aptitude for the design side of things, but my technical side was a little bit weak. So they said that we were looking for someone who had a very good technical acumen. We're not actually after somebody who has that design skills, which is really good, but that's not what we're looking for. So we need someone who's a lot more technical, and unfortunately on this occasion you didn't get the job. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. And I just stayed professional. I just remained professional. I said, yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much for the feedback. And that was that. They actually gave the job to my best friend at the time in uni, right? So the other guy that I was just talking to you about, he actually got the job, right? So he was very, very competent when it came to like technical stuff, because we had worked in group projects, and he was really good, and he probably deserved that job as well. So I said to him, hey, did you get a reply back? And he goes, yeah, I did. I was like, all right, so what did they say? Yeah, I got the job. And I was like, oh, okay, nice, thanks for telling me, bro. And he said, yeah, I was going to tell you, but like, I just wanted you to kind of come up to me first, because I didn't want to like rub it in your face kind of thing. And I was like, nah, it's cool. So he got the job, and that was that. Now, I was obviously quite pissed off about that, because Network Rail is actually a very, very big company when it comes to engineering. They employ a lot of civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. So, it was really like the golden goose, right? Everybody wanted to get into Network Rail. And it was actually quite interesting as well. I was always have been interested in the railways and stuff. So it would have been a good experience for me. Well, anyway, so I kept applying to the jobs. Now, guess what? One of the companies that was based up in Skipton, called Jane Bentley, they were part of the Mott MacDonald group. And I actually applied to those guys. I had sent out like a cold email to them, and they actually replied back saying, hey, we got your email. We actually have a formal placement. We actually have a formal year-out placement scheme. So would you like us to send you the details for that? And then they basically put a link there to apply. I was like, oh, cool. So I applied to them and went through the whole rigmarole that they had. They had like a mini assessment center. It wasn't like a full-blown graduate thing, because obviously it was for undergraduates, right? So it's like a mini assessment center, and then I think it was just an interview, right? And yeah, they gave me the job, and I was one of the winners in the assessment center. And this was these guys were like based in Skipton, right? So they were north of England, and at the time they were paying £14,000 for that year, right? So £14,000 is a couple of years ago as well, and it was obviously for somebody who's not yet qualified. So £14,000 for the 12-month period. And Network Rail, just in contrast, were offering £17,000. So it was a better deal in terms of finances, and it was also a bigger company. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's nice. And I kind of said to them, look, just give me a week to kind of think about it. I didn't actually have any other offers at that time, but I was like, I'm just going to kind of see how things go. If there's another offer that comes, then I can put it together and see, what to go for. And actually, lo and behold, I think I emailed Network Rail back and I said, hey, just wondering if there's anything that if there's any other job openings that I can apply to, please do let me know. And that specific team that took my interview and hired my friend, got back to me and said, hey, actually, we've got a design team who want to take on a student as well. They don't usually do it, but this is the first year that they're kind of taking a placement year on. And yeah, would you like us to pass on your details to them guys, because your design skills kind of align with that design team. We're the technical team, but they're the design team, and they might be interested in what skills you have. And I was like, yeah, of course. So they passed my details on to those guys, booked in an interview. I went to go see him in the office, and yeah, they were happy with my skills, and they actually gave me a job, right? So they gave me the exact same package as my friend, so £17,000 for 12 months. It's a year-out placement at Network Rail, but instead of the technical team, it would be in the design team. and that matched my interests as well, and it was actually just like a win-win. It was really, really good, and I was really, really happy. So I was like, wow, brilliant, that's fantastic. And I think one of the things I want you to learn from this is just staying professional and kind of, staying in the loop with these companies. It's not ideal, but sometimes it can actually bring you some fruits, and sometimes it works. So, it's well worth your time just kind of getting in touch, and then getting in touch after a month or so just to see if they've got any other positions, because sometimes these companies are massive, right? Sometimes it just goes off their radar, they forget about things. And if you sent them an email or something like that just to remind them, they might actually turn around and say, yeah, we actually do have a place for you, and come in and have a chat with us. So yeah, I kind of beat the competition there because I hadn't actually advertised that anywhere else, that particular job that I got in Network Rail, and I was kind of the first one. So yeah, I kind of beat everybody to it. So yeah, that was basically how I got my internship. So I had told Jane Bentley, the other guys, I said, look, I'm getting an offer for. Well, I didn't tell them I was getting another offer. I just said that for the 14,000 that you're offering, is there, any scope to increase that? And they just turned around and said, no, that's just what we offer. It's just a flat rate. There's no scope for negotiation. And I was like, all right, fine. And I just said, look, I thank you for the opportunity, but I've actually got an opportunity elsewhere, and I've gone with them. So you can give this opportunity to somebody else. And that was that. That is basically how I got my internship. I did my year out placement at Network Rail, and I think I did about 13 months, just over 12 months, because I started in like the summer holidays. So yeah, just did over a year. And that really helped me for getting into my graduate job, which I then got into after uni. And it was in the same place. That's just a spoiler alert. It was actually just in the same place. And I went back as an assistant engineer. So yeah, I will share that in another video, how I got my graduate job. I'm now on a graduate scheme, and it's in a different industry, so I'm now in IT. There was many different reasons why I changed my industry, and graduate schemes by far are the best paid and the best types of jobs that you can get as a graduate. And I highly recommend that you strive towards a graduate scheme in all circumstances. Obviously, if you're in the second year, then you can't get a graduate scheme, right? You have to go for an internship. But internship placement years, very, very good to do. Highly recommend. Don't just skip it and get your 3 years of uni done, and then I don't have a master's, right? And a lot of people that have done a master's didn't actually get a job just because they didn't have any experience. Like, they don't actually know what they're doing. So I would recommend. It depends on what degree you're doing, but I would recommend that if you're doing certain degrees, you don't need a master's. Just get your bachelor's, do a year out placement, spend that master's year doing a year out placement, and you've got a year's experience under your belt. You can build a lot of connections, you can learn a lot of things, you can go back to that company potentially if you shine, like I did. And that's basically a cheat code. Now, you're probably watching this video because you want to get into an internship, or you want to know about internships. But if you're at the point of getting onto a graduate scheme, what I would say is I've got a couple of tools that will help you speed up the graduate scheme process. So you may already know that the process for getting onto a graduate scheme is very, very long, very, very difficult. If you need help speeding that up, I've got a graduate success pack linked in the description below. I basically give you my winning CV and cover letter templates, my graduate Q&A document, which is all the questions and answers that I've faced in the interview stages, and also my graduate application tracker as well. It's going to help you stay organized throughout your applications. So yeah, go check that out in the description below, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the other video.